The Arctic is warming fast and the scramble for it is intensifying. New sea lanes are opening, and resources under the ice are suddenly reachable. That's why Russia has poured money into rebuilding Arctic military bases. But how could those bases actually change global power? Let's unpack it. First, a quick primer on Arctic geography and who claims what. Russia, Canada, Norway, Denmark, and the US all have Arctic interests. Russia claims the longest Arctic coastline and it acts on that claim. From repaired runways to radar stations, bases are more than buildings. They extend reach, letting military assets operate farther north and longer. That reach affects surveillance, sea control, and rapid response capability. Russia's Arctic bases also support anti-access and area denial measures. Put simply, they make some sea lanes risky for rivals to use freely. That risk changes economic calculations for shipping and trade routes. Shorter Arctic routes could save time unless security costs rise too much. Another factor, resources. The Arctic hides oil, gas, and minerals under ice. Military bases secure access to those resources for the state that controls them. Securing resources yields economic leverage and power in negotiations. So Russia's moves are geopolitical and economic at once. Let's look at military logistics, supply lines, maintenance, and seasonal limits. Bases need constant resupply, ice-capable ships, and winterized equipment. Russia has invested in icebreakers and specialized logistics for this reason. That logistical edge can translate into sustained presence when rivals can't stay. Now consider surveillance and early warning systems on rebuilt sites. Better early warning gives strategic advantage in crisis or conflict. Airfields can host fighters, transports, and surveillance aircraft much closer to North America and Europe. That proximity compresses decision time for NATO and European defenses. It's not only offense, bases also improve search and rescue and scientific support. These dual-use capabilities complicate how other states respond politically. Next, diplomacy. Russia uses bases as bargaining chips in Arctic talks. Other Arctic states must weigh cooperation against security concerns. For NATO, Russia's Arctic posture forces planning changes and resource shifts. This can stretch military budgets and attention away from other regions. Let's get concrete. Where has Russia rebuilt bases recently? These islands now host runways, radar, and coastal defenses. Satellite imagery shows activity spikes around those sites over the past decade. Russia's Arctic doctrine explicitly links military presence to national security goals. That doctrine frames the Arctic as a strategic flank to protect the homeland. Now, how could this shift global power balances? Start with deterrence. Stronger Arctic forces make adversaries think twice about northern operations. That deterrent posture can free Russia to focus elsewhere with less pushback. Economic leverage from resources can also influence global markets and allies. Energy exports or supply disruptions have real political effects abroad. Beyond direct power, Russia's Arctic posture shapes norms and rules there. If one state dominates access, it can rewrite expectations about freedom of the sea. That has knock-on effects for global maritime law and future disputes. Others aren't passive. Norway, Canada, and the US are reinforcing Arctic capabilities. NATO is also experimenting with joint exercises and infrastructure investments. Still, geography favors those already adapted to Arctic conditions. Climate change complicates all predictions, faster ice melt creates new unknowns. So what are realistic scenarios for the next decade? First, managed competition. States accept limits, cooperate on search and rescue, and avoid direct confrontation. Second, escalatory friction, minor incidents spiral into bigger crises. A misstep near a base could rapidly involve allies and lead to standoffs. Third, strategic dominance, one state controls access and sets the rules. That would reshape trade, energy flows, and security calculations globally. Which scenario unfolds depends on politics, investment, and climate reality. What should policymakers do? First, invest in monitoring and presence wisely. Second, strengthen agreements for search, rescue, and environmental protection. Third, prepare for economic shifts, diversify supply chains and energy sources. The Arctic will be a test of power, cooperation, and adaptation, and the world will watch.